All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Can you hear me okay? How's the audio? All right. So, Bitcoin, right? So yeah, we're just been hanging out in this buy zone, right? We kind of got two shots at it, which is nice, and oftentimes you'll see, and that's also kind of why we had this box layered a little below it, because we talk about this pattern completion zone and then a slightly little lower low or lower high or higher high, depending which harmonic you're looking at, right? But right here, this gives you like this optimal entry area, right, where people can get a second shot at it if they miss the initial. All right, all good, cool. All right, what's up, fellas? Um, okay, so optimal pattern completion zone in, optimal entry in, 786 hit. A lot of factors, right? Also, when we got that optimal entry, that second little low there, let me zoom in on it, and we will look a little bit closer at what we're talking about here. Okay, so here was a completion zone entry 786 right here, this bottom, and then you had the respected bounce right off of it, and then just as the confirmation double bottom. Okay, and double bottoms like this can give us very, very good divergence because you paint the slightly lower low on price, right? Slightly lower low on price, and on your oscillator, on your MACD here, you're painting a higher low on the negative momentum, right? Lower levels of negative momentum, right? So diverging oscillator to price, right? And similar things on the RSI, where you had this tail ending RSI 4-hour bullish divergence as well that coincided with the MACD. So that's kind of all happened right in this buy zone, and then now look, you're getting this 4-hour, green candle here with 25 minutes left into the daily close. So important area here, but this also looks really nice. You had this low, slightly lower low, higher, slightly higher high on this last candle, giving you a swing low failure pattern, right? Swing failure pattern. So that's really good to see as well at the divergence in the buy zone in the completion area of the large Gartley, right? So a lot of stuff happening right here. That's aligning right with our thesis. So let's see if we get the now continuation to the upside, and if we do so, it's very likely, let's see, the next area we're looking at here is going to be around 32.5. So if we can get this like 32.5 area, this is going to be good confirmation, right? So let's get up here and let's tap this. This is just a low time frame square up here, okay? But that gets us at least out of the buy zone, right? It starts to at least paint, higher lows in price, right? We got to start painting higher lows and higher highs, so we can get this trend to ideally start to revert again to the upside, right? Some sort of upsloping trend line now, right? So let's see if we can, come up here, touch the midpoint, maybe bounce around a little, but eventually find our way up and out to this high side, which would be around 34.5, right? So 32.5 and then 34.5. Let's kind of make our way into that area. And also, if we were to just fib this from high to low, we'd find our first golden zone being here, which is that first area we just talked about, right into the second area. Okay, and then I'll take this fib and I'll take it to the higher high, the A point, right? And I'm going to overlay the golden zone twice, okay, using both of the harmonic highs with the D low. Makes sense? And this is our overlapping area that we're left with, okay, where price overlaps basically in this zone. And yeah, so let's kind of get up in here next. This is going to be kind of golden retrace area, and then we can make our way up towards these highs, which is the C and the A high of the harmonic. Okay, doing so will put us back into this range midpoint. So if we zoom out, you see that the yellow dotted line represents the range midpoint of this entire structure, right? So by reversing here at this Gartley at the low, still painting a higher low from the reversion, where we kind of fell out, and I don't know, this happens for sure. It's white coffee type shit. But anyways, price is back up within the range, and you're making higher lows than, this previous, especially where this harmonic started, of course, right? The X, you're making a higher low, and it was a 786, which is characteristic of a Gartley that had a B with a 618. Okay, so we were looking for this 786 buy zone. We got it. If this sends us up into this midpoint, that means this is probably going to reverse the whole thing. Okay, so a Gartley reversing the whole thing, I mean, okay, that's big stuff. All right, so big stuff. So the way that's going to work first is you're going to see this C and then this A point hit. Okay, so by hitting this blue zone up here, that's going to hit take profit target 1 and 2 of the small Gartley. But Gartley's, well, we may get a small slight pullback there. It's more than likely, it's almost like we get it like this sideways, and then we just continue on up. Okay, so these Gartleys, you don't necessarily want to take profit here, because I mean, unless it's very obvious, and by the time we get there we have just significant bearish divergence. But I have a feeling that we won't. Okay, I have a feeling that's not going to happen until at least a range high. Okay, so keeping that in mind, we would then look for a higher target. Which, how would we do that? We'd fib again from the A high to the D low down here. Okay, and we'd be targeting this 1618 as the real third target. Okay, so if we do that, look where that falls. All right, that's right at the range high. So this seems more of a likely target. This is just local stuff that we have to deal with on the way. You know what I mean? You get up here, small rejection. You get up here, small rejection. You get up in here and you bounce around. Okay, and then eventually you end up here. All right, so where is that? That's 40k. All right, 40k. Now when we get up here again, it'll be interesting. Do we get this slight pullback here? And if we do, it's probably just because we're painting some kind of hidden bullish divergence for continuation anyways. But aside from that, I mean, we could just bounce right out of this range high finally, and then continue on our way up. And this is honestly more what we're after, because if we zoom out even further, it's like, okay, look, it's time to get rid of this range. All right, if that's the case, look at this big Wyckoff accumulation, right? Think of that just as a big Wyckoff accumulation. And how would a Wyckoff accumulation end? It would end with a breakout of the top of the range, and you would continue up into a new range. Okay, and ideally that's where this deep retrace area is, and I'll show you how we get there. Okay, so zooming out even a little further, we take the all-time high. Okay, so we take the all-time high and we bring it down to this current local June 22nd low, all right, at 29.5 or whatever that was. And you can see where this new golden retrace zone is for starters, right? Look at that. All right, so get into that golden retrace. That has you outside of this range. See, this range is right here in white. And then from there, you have this deep retrace. So this deep retrace is going to be here, all right? So deep retrace area right here. So between 54 and 59, so almost 60k would be the next real rejection area. Okay, so golden zone and then deep retrace. All right, so these are much higher targets at this point. All right, so this is why we don't really want to exit at this top of this Gartley, because it's just like you're just at the range midpoint, right? You're just gonna sell the midpoint. Yeah, that's gonna be nice trade, But yeah, and it might sell off a little, but again, I feel like you're just going to get this continuation, right? If this is going to do something crazy, I mean, it just, when it's time to go, it's time to go, right? Enough of this accumulation, right? The market makers got accumulated his position, all right? He's had the time to continue to layer and layer and layer and get these gobbled up, and then layer and layer and layer and gobble up some more, right? He's accumulating on all of these dips, basically, right? I mean, you have to figure, at least on most of them. So he's got his position accumulated. Now it's time for the parabola, right? The parabolic price action, where we finally get this sweeping, upsloping channel in price, right? So let's see how this works. Also, it's again, this is characteristic of like dragon-esque breakouts, right? Where you get these there's the potential, right, where you broke out of it, and we even talked about back testing this right into the Gartley, and sure enough, right, there's your breakout, your back test, right? Now you just need to start the follow through price action to the upside, right? So yeah, okay, keep this in mind, right? It's gonna be tough, but like this is how real, money's made, right? By letting something you can accumulate at the lows, right? Look at this, at the low, and look how close your stop is, right? Look how close your stop is. Imagine just being able to have the ability to take this trade up into this deep retrace area with a stop that looks like this, okay? I mean, look at that nastiness, right? 15 to 1, right? 80% on Bitcoin. And you know what's crazy is, we can't really say it yet. We need more data, right? But if this plays out right, the deep retrace isn't necessarily always it. We got to keep it in mind. But once again, fibbing from high to low, okay? Here's our deep retrace, and we come up here. And I mean, this is where we have this 1272, we have this 1414, and we have this 1618 giving you these new highs, all right? So just depending, where this ends up, right? Can it be 80, 90, or even 100? I know that's crazy, right? So just stuff to keep in mind, all right? So what's going to tell us is, as we reach these levels, 618, golden retrace, 786, 886 deep retrace, this is going to paint a different type of harmonic, right? At some point we're going to paint some bearish bat, or just something else is going to paint, and we have to invalidate it to continue, okay? But there is a chance for like 80, we talked about 80 as being just the first one, kind of 80 to 87 area, right? So that's just that first 1272. But then from there, 90 and 100 are still actually in play if this is strong enough, right? I don't know, too early to tell, but that's where this ends up, okay? So right here, these local small areas, they're small on the grand scheme of things if this is what it is, okay? And a Gartley like this at the end of a bunch of harmonics in a range accumulation, Wyckoff accumulation, Gartley, 618 into a 786 with divergence, okay? This is the kind of thing that will send price in this form, okay? This is how you get that full send. All right. So, okay. So that being said, let's take a look at, okay. So we have the daily close approaching, okay, 12 minutes. So we got to keep an eye on that. You're probably getting a small little sell off here, a little bit of effery into the daily close, especially makes sense if it wants to pump, right? It's just kind of one last little attempt to get rid of a few over leveraged longs, right? That are jumping in right now, 100x and whatever, right? Stop them out real quick and then go. All right, so looking at like moving out right onto like the 8 hour and the 12 hour. Okay, if we start to look at this, you know, this price action, yeah, I mean, it's really clear. The harmonic, just this big. I mean, you guys can look at it in forms like M's and W's. I know you guys have talked about that before, but it's easier. It's even easier to see as you zoom out. And when it's like that, it just the pattern is just more developed, right? When you can see it on higher and higher time frames, and you just see this big M, right? It just, you know, it's what we're after. You're getting the daily close approaching here. Nothing really on the oscillators to either side at the moment on the high time frame, which is kind of sucks on Bitcoin. You see it a little more on Ethereum than you do here on Bitcoin, but basically, I mean, you got the divergence, bullish divergence, all the way from the 8 hour, 6 hour, 4 hour. So that's always nice. So, you know, where you have this high on price, this low on price, and then you put in a lower low, right, with higher levels of negative momentum. You got the tail end RSI divergence to go with it. So you do have something here on the 8 hour, 6 hour looks the same, right? Where you have the bullish divergence with the tail end, again, RSI bullish divergence. So this looks good all the way to from the 8 hour through the 4 hour as far as the divergence goes, bullish divergence. So that's always nice to see. Yeah, let's see if we get a pop right here into the close. Let's look on to Ethereum. So Ethereum, same thing. You're kind of just hanging out right in this buy zone, okay, where you hit the completion zone area and you're just kind of making another. On Bitcoin, you made a slightly lower low. On Ethereum, you're making a slightly higher low. So no real difference there. I mean, same kind of big harmonic, you know, XABCD reversal pattern developed, right? On the MACD, you have the 4 hour bullish divergence on Ethereum. On the RSI, same thing, tail end, right? So like to see that. Zooming out to like same thing, like 8 hour, you're seeing not as clear, but yeah, still higher, slightly lower levels. You don't have this island separation here, but I mean, look at what you just finished dealing with, right? So it's like 3x bearish divergence into this bullish divergence, right? So boom, 3x up there up top into this bullish divergence with this RSI bullish divergence here on the 6 hour, or this is the 8 hour. So, you know, you're setting up, you're really setting up to do something good here. We just need that follow through price action right now. ETH BTC, still looking good. Looks like you're painting a higher low here on the 4 hour, painting again bullish divergence on ETH to BTC. So it's still possible that ETH continues to outperform Bitcoin on this next leg up, where if somebody was jumping into ETH BTC right now, stop would still be down here, and you'd be initially just looking for the range high, right? And then probably more, like we just said, but you know, there you go, 3 to 1, just 3.27 to 1 just on this within the range, right? And that's not to say that this doesn't break out of the range and you get a second target somewhere higher, you know what I mean? So looking back to ETH, same thing. If we were to fib this from the high to low, our 618 local low is up here, right where that right where the top of the range is, right? You have that 1618 golden mean ratio aligning with the top of the range high. Okay, see that? So somebody jumping into ETH USDT right now, their trade setup would look, you know, like this. You'd have a stop down here below the X. You'd be targeting I mean, okay, so go to the range midpoint if you're the conservative and you want to take a little off, okay? But then, whoops, sorry, not that one. But then you're definitely going to target that second target is going to be, why did that come down? Range midpoint, second target, range high. It's 1618, okay? So 2.25 to 1, 4.32 to 1 on Russian Ethereum. And again, this is just the beginning of it. We don't necessarily want to exit there because we have much, much, much higher targets in mind, right? This is just how we get to the top of this range, all right? But look, I mean, getting to this first target, what's going to happen here shortly is this stinking downsloping trend line that we just cannot get rid of, right? Eventually, this thing has to give way here, right? So you're gonna break this thing and it's just gonna send at some point, okay? It just is not broken it for such a long time that when it finally occurs, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna do something pretty dramatic, okay? So it's been really respected, you know, really respected, right? Range downsloping trend line, range midpoint. So again, you figure when you break out of this, you again address this range midpoint at some point, but ideally you're just up here, okay? Which is 28.50, okay? Russian Ethereum 28.50. But bigger picture, fibbing from the all-time high here, May 12th at 43.39 down to the D low, okay? You got this low kind of double bottom here at 1710. All right, so taking this up here, you have these targets hanging out up here, all right? 50, 5K, 6K, 7K, all right? So it's 55, 65, 75. Either way, like those are just, it's more like that 5K psychological round number and, you know, and so on, right? So just depending how you're looking at this, just what's going to tell us again once we get up here is a divergence, right? We're going to look and we're going to be looking again for this like 3x bearish divergence developing over here. And once it develops, whichever one of these areas that we're at is probably going to be the one, okay? So that as we start to approach one and we see this developing divergence, we could be like, okay, look, we're almost to this next area. By then, the divergence is going to be really developed. That's probably it. But if we're past it and still developing, then we could say, okay, it's probably the next one. You see what I'm saying? That's how we kind of go about that. Is we just keep targeting the next target until it aligns with the divergence. And that's probably what will reverse it, all right? So again, just this big accumulating range, downsloping trend line, double bottom at the D reversal, you know, completion zone of this cipher, right? We have a big cipher in yellow. You got this completion zone area where you hit a, you know, almost 786. You definitely got it on Bitcoin, right? You definitely got that 786 on Bitcoin and a little bit more. So ETH is just holding up a little stronger. And again, why is ETH holding up a little stronger? Because on ETH BTC, it's going to outperform it. That all aligns with why you put in the higher low. And on Bitcoin, you put in the lower low. It's just trying to tell you something further, right? These are just the market telling us through technical analysis, hey, bruh, take a look at what's happening here. Start to paint this all together and you have your story, right? So, I don't know. Let's take a look at the, let's talk to the Magic 8 Ball about it. Magic 8 Ball. We got Russian Ethereum up on the chart. We're looking for massive markup in price. We're talking 4K, 5K, 6K, 7K. We're talking about sending this thing into the fucking stratosphere, okay? So, what do you think, Magic 8 Ball? Is it going to happen or not? Magic 8 Ball still bullish. See? Magic 8 Ball understands how to accumulate a position, okay? It takes patience, right? It takes patience through a range, but once you zoom out, you realize how minuscule it all was on the grand scheme of things, right? It's just a reaccumulation, painting, you know, on a large time frame. I bet you there's some kind of hidden bull or something here, right? So just you had to reset. You had to reset, all right? It is what it is. I don't know where you would ideally fib this from. Let's take one from here and see what that did. Yep, 618, 28. Yeah, pretty much, right? If we take it from the previous one, yeah, it was probably this one. All right, that makes sense. I mean, you basically got a 618 retrace. You see that? So, I mean, that's all you need sometimes, right? That's a heck of a fire sale. That's a 61% sale on Bitcoin from the all-time high. People that bought up here, somebody buying down here is getting it at 61% off, right? That's plenty good. Sometimes 20% discount will send it. 60%, let's go, bro. Now, again, what'll end this party? Stop loss 28 or 29.8. And again, you need price to not only like fall below it, but then the back test and then the follow through. This is bear market. This means 20k, all right? So you don't want to see none of that, all right? So let's take a zoom in look real quick on Bitcoin. Looks like you got some effery here. Whoops, some effery happening right into the close. You got the close happening in 30 seconds, okay? 30 seconds. What did I tell you? You had some effery stopping out the late longers, over positioned, over leveraged, and now boom, got it all back and then sending it right into the close, right? So ideally this thing's gonna close up over, sorry, bad line. Close up over this line, okay? Break, hook, go. You're gonna hit this square up here at the 32,500. Okay, there it goes. All right, so there it is. The daily has closed. New day, you closed above the line. Miraculous recovery on the last 15 minutes. Exactly what you wanted to see. Staying above this would be nice. Either way, we're looking for this square up here, okay? That square up level right there is 32,500, okay? Or 32,550 even. 32,500, all right? So send this to 32,500 right there, all right? That's how we get this party started, all right? Moving along to Litecoin, all right? So Litecoin, Russian Litecoin, they probably made this shit too. All right, Russian Litecoin. Okay, so look, well, Ethereum has just refused to break out of this downsloping trend line. Litecoin loves to break out of this downsloping trend line. It's done so once here, again here, and now you're basically holding above it, like it's out of it, okay? So it's basically been regarded, that's like the spine of the dragon. It's done, we're out, all right? So now we need to start sending it, all right? So you got targets coming up, 146, 150. Those are the local A and C targets of the local harmonic, but the larger harmonic up here in blue has targets of 198 and 210, all right? So this is, we're looking to target the top of the range of the larger harmonic, okay? This smaller harmonic is more of the range midpoint, if that makes sense, right? If we were a big range, right, and this was our range, it's kind of like that, right? So the target, you know, targeting these initial lows or highs is like that midpoint, and then, you know, you chop around there and then you send it again to that actual high, all right? Same story, different Russian coin, all right? So if we can get out of that, then it's 300, all right? That's where we have our next kind of large square up area, 300. So, you know, fibbing from this all-time high, not all-time high, but the A high to the D low up in that area is the 1414, 1618, right? 1618, and the 1414 is right at that 300 area where you have that square up, all right? So very likely that we end up there, as long as, you know, price continues to push You know, and we get continuation to the upside as we are seeking on all assets in the crypto market currently. All right, moving along to OMG, same thing, right? Another Gartley type harmonic. This is actually more of a shark, to be honest, and it's a kind of a weird shark because a shark would have hit the 886, but either way, it's a shark because you have the higher high up here. But either way, XABCD targets would be the A and the C high initially, right? Initially. Then you know, that's just where you got to get first, right? First we got to get up there. So we'll make our way, gosh, stupid. All right, we make our way up here, and then we break out and we find the range, top of the range, right? And then we target these C and A high of this larger harmonic, okay? $7-8. So first it's 4 and 5, then it's 7 and 8. Ultimately, if we could reach all that, it's 10. All right, stop is at 325. Stop is below here. All right, the previous discernible you know, this discernible low here. All right, all this chop, stop is below that chop at 3 1/4. You're currently sitting at 375 on OMG. AVAX. So again, we've had these drawn for quite some time, right? Those of you that have been watching the stream understand that this is not new for us. We've had these patterns in development for quite some time. You know, we're now painting, you know, tons of higher lows, right? Where we had that initial low. Sorry. There you go. Initial low, slightly higher low, slightly higher low, and once again, painting another higher low. Zooming in on this higher low, you got a double bottom, right? Double bottom right there. So it's very likely, you know, you're even doing some kind of X, A, B, C, D type structure right here, okay? So right at the double bottom little completion area, right? You're just hanging out in there right now, but you know, nice little zone to be in. Nice little harmonic, painting higher lows, so like to see it. All right, so again, targeting the larger harmonic, $21, right? We have, you know, this previous neckline area here that was once, you know, once resistance became support, failed. Eventually you'll probably regard that again, and that's probably your golden retrace from here. Watch, if you fib from high to low, we put the golden retrace out, boom, and yeah, so just above that golden retrace. That golden retrace is almost more the top of this, look, top of this square up area. See that? So a couple areas of interest prior to getting to the actual high point of this harmonic, okay? So yeah, stop loss right now, you can probably even move it up here, okay? But I don't know, call it 960 for now. Move it up a leg at least for the moment, and then just you know, see how that plays out. But yeah, nothing to worry about at the moment. Just again, market makers are accumulating positions across, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and of course the S coin assets. Moving along, FTM, look at that, just hanging out right inside of a Gartley. XABCD, you have a 618, right? 618 at the B, you have a 786 at the D, double bottom inside the pattern completion zone. Currently you could bring the stop up to, you know, 0.19. You're just hanging out right here at 0.2, 0.21 area. Okay, so FTM right now, right? This line up here would be targeting that A and C high for initial targets, all right? Initial, local, like in the next day or two. This could find itself right in this area, all right? Maybe you get a small pullback, maybe you don't. Maybe you just chop here and then you send it again. All right. Next target would be right here at 31 cents. You have a square up there if you're looking back left. Okay. And then from there, you'd be looking to the highs. All right. The highs are up at 37.50 or 0.375, excuse me. And those highs up here are just, you know, again, in the grand scheme of things, fibbing from all-time high here to low, doing our golden retrace, right? Those targets are just, you know, within the way to this golden retrace. You have a target there at 50 cents, ultimately deep retrace area up here. And if you exceed it, you got 1272 type stuff up here before eventually getting to like a 1618, even higher. Okay. So good area to accumulate and build along because of where you're at, how tight your stop is allowed to be here. Okay. And, you know, potential targets, right? 20 to 1 on your money. This is how you create an edge, as long as you don't over position and over leverage yourself on the way out before the party even starts. All right. Even the conservative man would hit a golden retrace of 140% from here. So guys, there's always opportunities. We just have to be patient enough to wait for them, or, you know, smart enough to not self-sabotage our way out of the position before it even starts. All right. So yeah, FTM. Now we'll look at FTT. FTT has been interesting because, you know, it had an interesting completion zone that happened a while back. Okay. Yeah, you fell a little below it, but eventually you rebounded and you really held right at it. You see what I mean? It's just that little deviation, slight deviation. All right. So that being said, since then, you've been painting, you know, you had that low, right? Now you paint, of course, a higher low, and currently a even higher low, right? So this is looking really good here. Again, harmonic wise, you're probably painting a cipher here. Okay, so looking cipher-esque, XA, cipher, 50% retrace, 1414 up top. A little deeper than the 1414, but 1414, 786, no, 886. So this was Shark. So Shark can go up to 1618, or yeah, 1618 at the high. So more Sharkish, which would have an 886 down here. Yeah. So Shark. All right. So you got a low time frame Shark right on top of the completion zone of the larger structure. All right. So harmonics on top of harmonics. Currently the stop can either be here or here, just depending. Probably here, because that's a long way down to here. So let's go up here, $24, $24.50 with the stop. FTT is hanging out much higher. Everything else is hanging out down here. Okay. See, FTT's way higher and holding up much higher. All right. Again, look at this. You're painting hidden, not on the 4 hour. It was on a higher time frame. Yep. You're painting hidden bullish divergence on the 8 hour and on the 6 hour, I believe it was. Yep. 6 hour, 8 hour hidden bullish divergence. 4 hour, nothing yet, just a big shark harmonic. So this is due for a reversal as well pretty soon here. So chop around a little bit, and then, you know, eventually you're going to start running to the upside. As long as everything else starts running, it's going to pull the whole market with it. Okay. So the new look, XLM, new open, see this? We just started running, boom, 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 3 consecutive green candles the past 4 hours, or the past 12 hours, off of the large harmonic. You have a kind of inverse head and shoulders, you know, slanted inverse head and shoulders, breakout, targeting the square up initially, and then, you know, much higher prices from there, right? So looking good for XLM. Again, bigger picture, right? This is just getting started. So stop losses right now can be, you know, anywhere from from below the wick low to even up here below this D low. All right, so like probably around 20 cents. You don't want to lose 20 cents. So that 19 area is pretty good. You don't want to lose 20 cents, but you could be more conservative and be tighter for now. It's up to you, right? You know, based on how your positions are set up, everyone's entered positions a little bit differently for different amounts on different assets with different leverages. So your stop loss is going to be kind of variable on that. But really, even with stops, you don't really necessarily want to get stopped out on wicks. You want to get stopped out on price action regarding it as resistance and then following through to the downside. All right, this is really how a stop should work, not necessarily right there. Okay, you want that convincing stuff to stop you out. Okay, not those little wicks. All right, see this wick and then all of a sudden just, you know, you're gonna get upside. This wick would have killed you. So you hate to see that, right? Really hate to see those kind of stops. AVE, same thing, just like FTT. Look at this sucker, okay? Holding up above its range midpoint. Look where our buy zone was. Do you remember this, guys? Do you remember this buy zone? All right, now look where you are at that range midpoint. Massive, massive bullishness presenting itself here in the form of AAVE, okay? This sucker's gonna send it, all right? It's getting a head start on everybody. Head start, all right? Let's see what else might be developing here. Depending where we anchor this from. Yeah, you pretty much got some Gartley stuff happening here as well. So, yeah, AVE above this range midpoint, Gartley bat type of price action, harmonic developed, range midpoint, completion area, completion zone of this harmonic, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is looking really good. All right, before you know it, this is going to be at the range high. Well, everything else is barely going to be approaching the range midpoint. Does that make sense how bullish this asset is in comparison to everything we've just been looking at? All right, so, I mean, look, Magic 8 Ball, AVE, this thing's got a head start. What do you think, bro? We're going to make it. Figured. Never doubt the 8 Ball. Never doubt the 8 Ball. All right, so AAVE, head start, buy zone. If your stop was down here, bro, remember this? Your stop was down here, your entry's down here. Few of you guys I know are still printing this, and in time, the rest of you will be too, because you're gonna let runners run much harder as you get more and more convinced that this price action reversals work this way, okay? And you'll, over here, will be way down the road, right? We'll be painting another one and you'll be like, oh, I remember that, and you'll let that one run, right? So some of you right now, where's this hitting? Yeah, right there. Some of you are straight printing right now. So that's like 50% up at the high. You were up 100% from entry. So AVE just full send. All right, look at, let me show you something in comparison. Look where Link is. Oof. Okay, you see the difference? All right, let's draw that that range. Okay, so on we'll even be conservative. We'll take this to the C high. Okay, we'll be conservative. So on AAVE, you are right here, okay? You're hanging out above the midpoint, all right? Look where you are on Link. So much more room to run, okay, on Link than on AVE, but AVE, much more bullish. But again, the money's going to shift. AVE's going to come up here and hit some targets, and Link is going to be straggling, and that money's going to shift and run again, okay? So somebody right now entering on Link, I mean, whoa, right? Like, your invalidation point is super tight, right? Like barely can get stopped. So range midpoint, you know, for first area, range high, second area, 100% gain. After that, you're targeting, you know, much higher prices in the form of we'll zoom this out. We will fib from the high to the low. And that's deep retrace area, 1786886, right? And then even from there, depending how bullish this price action continues to be, you do stuff like this, okay? Link. Something like that, all right? Okay, there you go. Oh no, that's not lined up, but either way, whatever. You get the picture. You get the picture. Okay, I'm just gonna delete those. Too much clutter. All right, zooming in. Link, just at the absolute low. Look at this. It's crazy. All right. So, going back up to Bitcoin, the daily closes in. You did not nuke. 15-minute. You're just kind of hanging out there. Let's get some follow through now. Okay, let's get this up here to 32.5. 32.5 area will be nice to get into. Say we back test this area, what was once resistance, as support, okay, and we paint like hidden bullish divergence again, and then we go again, right? So see how this plays out. But yeah, that's the plan. You guys know your kind of invalidation points, right? You guys know where to cut it and what to look for in the event of a cut. And remember, in the event of a cut, you'd be seeing price action dumping below this stop and regarding it as resistance and then selling off again. This is your cue for a short right here, okay? This would be a short entry where you would have a stop like this and you would target the previous all-time high, to be honest, okay? Let's be honest. All right, so if you got a break to the bottom side and a back test of the stop as resistance with follow-through price action, this is your play, okay? 5 to 1 to the downside. If this fails, all right? That would be what you'd be looking for, all right? We don't want to see that, of course. We want to see continuation to the upside here. So let's get up out of 31 area, get into the 32s, 32.5, and then, you know, on our merry way, okay? Russian Ethereum, again, everything just hanging out in the buy zones, okay? Everything is just in the buy zone, across the board. All right, there you go, breaking out on XLM, sending AVE above the range midpoint, really bullish. So looking good on some of these already, okay? So again, patience, right? Patient man wins. Don't over leverage, don't over position. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Duck out. Peace.